Hello, third grade, and welcome to our 3.9 November lesson this week. So this week we're going to start off continuing learning a little bit about Native American music. So we're going to start off today with a little Native American coloring glyph while listening to the song that I have up here, the Circle Dance Native song. Alright, so let me go to our little checklist for this week. So you see that our music checklist is watch Miscellaneacs lesson video. And if you're watching this right now, this is the video that's going to be here. Then the next step after that, it says listen to this while coloring your glyph. And the coloring page is going to be right underneath it. And I also have mine printed out right here. So if you're working on this at home and you have a printer, then if you print this out, you can color it out with crayons or markers or whatever you have at home. If you don't have a printer, you can click on this page and get the digital version of this. And if you want, you can open something like Paint or like I have here, and you can color it in Paint or a digital coloring website. Or you can try and trace over this little image that we have here on a spare piece of paper, and then you can color it in as well. Alright, so what does a coloring glyph mean? So let's take a look at the coloring page here. So it says Native American glyph. At the top, while you listen to the music, use the color key and your ears to help you decide which color is the best to use for each number. Alright, so I put up the song or the music that you're going to listen to is right here, the Circle Dance Native song. And while you're listening to that, you're going to listen. Do you hear instruments? Yes or no? For example, let me take out my coloring page. Let's say for number 1, yes, I hear instruments, so I'm going to take out my red marker. I'm going to look for all the number 1s on my coloring page, and then I'm going to color in all of my number 1s with my red marker. Alright, like you can see there, number 1s are red. Alright, and then number 2, it says, do you hear singing or no singing? So let's say, for an example, I hear no singing, so I'm going to color in number 2's, strop in here black, since I heard no singing. So I'm going to go in here, find the number 2's. Let's see, oh, so the hair, I'm going to color in the hair black. Alright, and so on. Now, let's talk about some of these other words here on the bottom. Some of these music terms. So for the number 3, it says dynamics. So yellow, you're going to color in if the dynamics stay the same. Orange, you're going to color in if the dynamics change. So what do you think dynamics means in music? We haven't really talked about it too much yet. Alright, so in music, dynamics mean how loud or how soft the music is. Alright, so it's almost like the volume of the music. So let's go back to our little coloring glyph here. Let's say the dynamics stay the same. That means it doesn't get louder, it doesn't get softer, it doesn't get quiet. It stays exactly the same the whole entire way. I'm going to color in my 3's yellow. Let's say there's someone singing in my example, and they start singing really quiet, and then they get louder, and then they get quiet and louder and louder and louder, and they go back and forth. That means the dynamics are changing, so I would color in all the 3's orange. Alright, now we have one more for the 4's. It says tempo. Now, if you did our lesson last week, we talked about tempo a little bit when we were working on our Chrome Music Lab project. Alright, so if you remember tempo, awesome. Alright, so in music, tempo is how fast or how slow the music is. Alright, so tempo means how fast or how slow. So if let's go back to our little glyph here. So if our tempo stays the same, that means there was a nice steady beat going the whole entire time while you're listening to the music. So you're going to color it the 4s in light brown. Then if the tempo changes, so it goes faster and then goes slower, and then it goes faster and then it goes slower, that steady beat in the background, then you're going to color the 4s in peach. Okay? So right now, go ahead and pause my video. Listen to this song that I have linked in your little checklist here under B. And while you're working on that, color in the little glyph. And it might take some time. For me, when I was coloring in my glyph, I listened to the song, I think, 2 times around. So that gave me just enough time. You can listen 2 or 3 times as long as it takes for you to color in your little glyph. So make sure you're really listening to all of these numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, so you get the right colors in here. Alright, so go ahead, pause this video now, and I'm going to show you how my glyph turned out. Alright, so make sure you don't get any spoilers here. Don't look at my image unless you've already finished yours. So this is how my glyph turned out. For number 1, I heard that in the music there were instruments, so I colored the number 1s in red. Then let's look at number 2. I did hear singing, so I colored in my number 2s brown. Then for number 3s, the dynamics, I did hear the dynamics changing. I heard sometimes they got a little bit softer, and then sometimes it was louder, and it went back and forth. So I colored in my 3s orange. And then the last one, for number 4, the tempo, so how fast or how slow, I heard the tempo changing, so I colored in all of my number 4s a peachy color. Alright? So for you, maybe you heard some different things here, and that's okay. Your coloring glyph does not have to be exactly like mine. Alright, now when you finish your coloring glyph, I want you to post a picture in the Schoology discussion for this week, just so I can see how everyone's glyph turned out, what colors you colored in, and what things you heard while you were listening. Alright, so now the last part of this lesson, if you're looking down the checklist, I'm going to check off that right now you should be watching Miscellaneous video. Then for A, check off you already colored your glyph. And there's the glyph. Next up, we have this little pan flute listening example. So I just want you to listen to this. Have some fun, see what kind of different instruments you see. They pull out a lot of different types of instruments and flutes, and they kind of hold them up close to the camera. So just listen and have fun. And then after that, we have some Chrome Music Lab experiments. So last week we did a little bit of experiments in the Songmaker. This week we're going to go to the rhythm activity. And I don't have anything specific for you. You can just click around and experiment and create different rhythms by yourself. Okay? And that is it for today's lesson. And make sure that you remember to submit your little coloring glyph image on Schoology.